Well, hello, everyone. Happy December. Today is also December 7th, which is the first day of the rat month. Yeehaw. There's actually a few more people trickling in. We'll give it a second. We just started. I'm just doing my little greetings. I hope everyone had a nice Thanksgiving break. And you're feeling grounded and renewed as we come into the holiday season. We're going to talk a little bit about what we can anticipate in the next 30 days. But the month of December is actually really special, particularly this time around, because it's also going to give us a mini preview to 2023. And some people are going to have a lot more of a connection with 2023 than others, but it's good to go ahead and be a little bit more observant and aware and attuned to what is happening around us. I know that the holiday season tend to be very energetic and busy and chaotic, and a lot of our self-care and a lot of our boundaries are probably compromised during this time, and we're around a lot more energy, people hustling and bustling. And it's really interesting because when you think about what December elementally, what it means, it's the peak of hibernation. So when you think of nature, this is when all the animals, they've already gathered their foods, they've already fattened themselves up, they've prepared for this time of rest. And so just remember that we are members of nature. And so how we are cooperating with the season and how we are eating, how are we saying yes to activities, how are we taking better care of ourselves, we kind of have to, unless you've completely isolated yourself from everyone, I'm sure there's many dinner dates and parties and all of the things. And so the key thing here is really, how do I incorporate those moments of hibernation in my day-to-day? Does it mean I give myself an extra hour of sleep, right? Or does it mean I go to bed an hour early so that 1 hour is my extra cushion for just giving my body the opportunity to rest? Is it giving myself a little bit more time to eat, away from the computer if we work from home? Maybe it is just to purposefully sit down and prepare the meal, and we just do it silently without the phones, without the distraction. Does it mean it's signing up for that one class, maybe it's a meditation class once a week, if you can't do it every day or every other day, just incorporating a little bit of these hibernation moments that will help to really ease, that tension in our culture that our culture demands, because it is that time where it's very, very yang, but the season is calling it to be very yin. And so there's a disruption here. And so a lot of people, quite frankly, lose their mind in December, where they just need an extra hug. Okay. And so I just want you to contemplate that as we begin this new month, which is today. And we'll talk a little bit about the rat. This is our 5th talk this year. If you missed the previous talks, the recordings are available. They're always available to you if you want to go back and listen, which I do recommend because it's good as we're getting ready to wrap up our year and we're getting ready to pull our list for the new year, and just sort of reflecting and observing, how did I really move with the elements this past year? How cooperative was I in moving with the elements? And as we know, when you move with the elements, things tend to be a little bit easier. You're more at ease with it, rather having that tension, that friction with the elements when we're fighting with it. And so if you're interested, just send me an email and I'm happy to share. And so let's decompress from November. November was the piggy month, that's Thanksgiving month. And that November was the start of the winter season. And so that's why in November, we often call this the beginning of drops of water. These are signs when we begin to see winter season. the leaves have already died, and suddenly the clouds, there's just an air in our environment where you start to really bundle up. The fireplace maybe not yet quite fully on, but we're starting to begin that sort of, slowing down. Okay. And November is usually when we need to pay more attention to the water element in our bodies. And the water element is tied to our kidney, and the kidney is related to our anxiety, and our ability to think clearly, our ability to rest, our ability to process any fears that we might have about the future or about the present time. And so as you're listening to tonight's talk, just kind of give yourself a moment to say, what triggered me in the last 30 days that maybe prompted something that made me feel nervous, whether that's health related, finances, or maybe in your relationship. Just take note that the elements were inviting you to address them. Okay. Sometimes I have clients where they get these experiences and then they start to spiral thinking, oh my God, I'm in bad luck and this is like the end of it, and I don't want you to spiral like that, because sometimes the universe, the elements, they're all invitations for us, to step forward, to transform and to evolve from those experiences. And that's why I called November a kind of washing over. We're taking a moment to start reflecting on how far we've come, all the things that we were able to accomplish, the things that maybe aren't done yet, but it's okay, right? If we were animals in nature, November, we would be, pretty fat by now because we're getting ready to dig a hole, to go and rest and sleep or go inside the cave. And so that's just what you were doing in November, kind of like really think through, how did that really manifested in my life? And now we're in December, right? December 7th until January 5th. Okay, remember December is not the end of the solar calendar year, even though it is in our Gregorian calendar. The energy of this year goes until the end of January, okay? So you're not quite at the end of this cycle, but December is very powerful. This is the month of the rat, and the rat, you're very familiar with this because it's like 2020. 2020 was the year of the rat, powerful water. And water is much more dynamic in this time. It's not like a tiny bit of water, it's not like a little Mountain Dew. We're talking about ocean water. And so this ocean water, it can crash, right? It crashes and thrusts and, it's super dynamic, and at the same time, it can be very serene and very replenishing. And it's almost this awe-inspiring effect that it has on us. And so what happens is people's emotions during this time can mimic that of the ocean. You can go up and down and up and down. It's like, it almost feels like you're kind of cray-cray, right? Well, if this happens to you, it's okay. You're not cray-cray. You're just having moments of these kinds of waves of emotion, because that's what December is, an invitation. And so now you see why people kind of lose they lose themselves, because you're so busy. You're so busy attending to your business. You're so busy attending to family and all these events and commitments and gatherings that you don't have those moments of hibernation to sort of ease and calm your nerves. Well, when we talk about the body, so the body related to Chinese medicine, similar to November, it's related to our adrenal and our reproductive system. Okay, and our adrenal is responsible for, our energy level. If you ever feel like your foggy brain, kind of slow, fatigue, that means your adrenal is shot, right? And that's tied to your cortisol. Maybe you're so stressed and your body doesn't have the ability to productively process your stress in a healthy way. And so your adrenal takes a hit. But there's something extra in December. December is also related to our ears, actual ears. So the physical ears, but it's also the energetic part of ears. It's what are we hearing? What are we sensing from our ears? So these are things like, what am I listening to? Am I listening to negativity? Am I listening to negative statements? Or am I listening to beautiful music? These are things that you want to kind of pay attention to. And the rat is also related to the lower part of our body. And so you can go from the hip all the way to your toes. And so these are the times when you have to be more mindful of your lower back. And, if you've done energy work before, oftentimes when you have lower back pains or lower back aches like this, a lot of the interpretation would say that perhaps you're not feeling very supported in your life. And so you're carrying the load in the back, in your back. And so just being very mindful of that. There is a yoga pose that you can do to kind of help support your kidney chi. It's if you lay down flat on your back and you raise your legs, both legs up into your chest like this, and then you kind of rock side to side. And it's a really nice way to massage the kidneys in a gentle way. And you do it on a flat surface. And sometimes you might even feel that it's sore. And so just that kind of gentle, maybe if you have one of those rolly thingies that you can roll in your back, it's a great time to get adjustment, chiropractic adjustment for your spine to see what's going on in your lower back. But we also have to attend to our legs, the joints, the knees, our ankles, toes. So this in some ways is the physical part of our bodies. But then there's also the spiritual side of our legs, is how are we walking on this earth? Am I walking in my truth? Am I walking with conviction? Am I walking with confidence? Am I on a journey that is in alignment with my destiny? You see, how am I really walking in my life? And so you can look at these elements in all aspects, physically. Like for some people, maybe you have varicose veins, in your legs. Some people, you get cramps or Charlie horse. Maybe you need a knee replacement. You're starting to feel some aches and pains there. Maybe your ears are ringing, So just pay attention to that and know that when it does pop up and you understand BaZi, to be like, okay, well, this month, it's just asking me, it's an invitation for me to take a look at what that means, to address that, instead of resorting to panic and fear, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to need surgery. Oh my gosh, I'm losing my hearing, because that's what sometimes tend to happen when people are not very grounded. And so the emotion of water is incredibly powerful, okay? This is the birthplace of wisdom. This is us coming back to our inner knowing. I mean, we're 70% water. We come from a place of water. The wisdom resides in our body. And so again, it's very similar to how am I connecting with my own inner truth? Do I have the courage to do what is needed to make a change in my life? Or am I going to stay stuck because I'm overthinking, or I have a phobia, or I have an insecurity that I just don't have the willpower to overcome? That's what December is. And the messaging in December is so much deeper than in the past. It's even deeper than October. And October, we know, is a very spiritual month. But the problem is, because of our cultural dynamic, we don't have those space. I think there, I can speak to this. In Christianity, you have Advent, which is in the preparation for the birth of Christ. And so for 24 days or so, you're very intentional in the practice of the preparation for Christmas. So you have to ask yourself, and that's the same in the Jewish tradition, but you have to ask yourself, how am I preparing? Maybe, if you don't believe in those things, but how am I intentionally and purposefully preparing each and every day, to close out this year? How am I being purposeful? And again, it doesn't have to be dramatic. And I don't want you to do anything ginormous, like I'm going to take a 3-week retreat to Costa Rica. I'd be like, calm down, because that's not the answer. We're trying to develop a habit where we are cooperating with the elements. And the more we become familiar with what the rat means, then the next time the rat shows up, we're in a much better place, to handle this. And so to me, the rat is all about shifting perspective, right? It's to see our experiences in a new light with a new pair of lens. That's why November, if you look at November, my previous slide that we talked about last month was about restore and reflect. You're allowing the energy to wash over you, kind of like, wipe your eyes like this. And then you open your eyes and you're just reflecting. You're taking things in. Restore, that's taking in things in. Where am I? How far have I come this year? Now it's all about evaluating those experiences, those circumstances, and shifting our perspective to see the blessings, to see the hard lessons, and to see the meaning in all of that. So that's December. And, I love this quote from David Simon. He's an author. He says, reality is ultimately a selective act of perception and interpretation, and shifting our perspective allows us to break old habits. And this is so true. And I will attest to this personally because I work with so many clients. I can have the person who is in the best of luck, yet they can still come back and tell me, I'm in bad luck. This is the worst life ever. And I can have a person who is down on their luck, but they can still show up and say, I'm so blessed. I am the luckiest person on earth, you see? And so it's all about our perception to what's happening around us. And I think as we're getting ready for the holidays and, the new year, all of these things, it's just a beautiful time to be able to practice that. And so these are just some words, some adjectives I kind of want you to keep in your prayers or in your meditation or as you're journaling or going for your walk. Is how is this month purifying me? Do I feel I have a more acute awareness, in my clarity as to how do I really want to step into 2023? You see, this is all about preparing us for spring. Everybody wants spring, but nobody wants to do the work. This is the time for that. How can I elevate myself even more? If I fell short in some things, it's okay. How do I continue to elevate and progress? It is a transformative time. It's a time to make those decisions, small decisions, and we're coming back to our essence, water, which is our intuition, trusting ourselves. And also there's a elevation of spiritual enlightenment. There's a deeper connection to a higher being. Am I praying more? Am I praying for others? Do I keep them in my thoughts? Am I being more intentional in my spiritual practice at home with others in community and fellowship? How is that really manifesting? Or am I just running around like a chicken trying to check off the list, but there's really no intention behind that because you're too busy? So this is the theme of December, okay? Shifting our perspective. And the key is to have the patience. Patience is a virtue, okay? Which as a society in the Western world, patience is not very much celebrated, but it is through patience where we were able to see the wisdom in everything that's happening to us, okay? So it is requiring us to dig a little, it's deep. That's why the messaging in December my talk is a little bit different this month than it was in the past because of the meaning of the water, okay? So we get to the goodies, all right? This is your nobleman month. So from December 7th until January 5th, okay? If you were born in the year or the day of yin wood, yin earth, okay? So an example is kind of like this. You will have to have your BaZi chart. You see, someone who was born in the year of yin earth or born on the day of yin earth, okay? So that's one way of telling it. The other one, I know the Chinese characters look very similar, but they're different. You look at the year of yin wood and the day of yin wood. So if your BaZi chart shows this, that means this month, this next 30 days is your nobleman month. And remember, nobleman is very auspicious. So this is a time to make bold moves, okay? Time to pull the trigger, a good time to wrap things up, a good time to ask for help. And so if you're not familiar with nobleman, I think it's good to get your chart read. But if you know what it means, then you know what you need to do, okay? Another way to calculate your nobleman is if you were born in the years ending 5 and 9. Okay, so you can see that as an example. All right. So here we have, look at this picture. I mean, I wish they looked cute like that in person, but I mean, I've seen them and I scream and I die, but from the picture, it looks cute and they're happy, you know, they're playing a musical instrument. So if this month is your nobleman month, then you have these 2 days that are also your double nobleman days, okay? Because these are also rat days. So you got 2 rats. So those are extra auspicious, extra lucky. Okay, so just take note of that. All right, we always have to address clash. All right, clash is shaking and moving. Okay, disruption, conflict. Okay, you're extra impatient, definitely a lot more restless, all the things. So if you have the horse sign in your BaZi chart, okay, so if you were born in the year of the horse or the month of the horse or the hour of the horse, okay, so you can take a snapshot of that. But you'll get the recording, just email me if I don't send it to you in the next day. If you do have a clash, then it's good to carry an amulet of the ox. If it's not, you don't have time to go buy a pendant, or if you don't have one, it's just to be aware that this month is a lot more chaotic. The energy is a little bit more frazzled, okay? So it's not the best time to be making rash decisions, and don't overreact to small things. And so just having a way of easing into this clash would be really good. And if you're familiar with Feng Shui, having the Feng Shui adjustment for your bedroom or where you work at home is also very helpful. So this is an example of someone that has, you know, the year of the horse, month of the horse, day of the horse. That's how you look at that. So people who have that, this is your clash month, okay? Don't be afraid of clash. I always have to remind people this. Clash is responsible for moving things along. If you are trying to find a job and you've been putting your resume out there and nothing is happening, clash can make it happen. You see, if you feel stuck in your relationship or anything, clash means there's going to be movement. There's going to be energy there. Okay. So don't always be terrified of clash. Okay. But of course, clash can still be scary because we don't have control over everything with change, you know. But the key point here is, if you know that this is your clash month, and for some of you that are watching this live, it may not be your clash month now, but in the future, you're going to have a clash month, because we're all, you know, going to have that. Is how do I cooperate with this and say yes to change, whether it's planned or unplanned? Okay. So when things do pop up out of the ordinary, oh, my client fired me, like that, or oh, I got a flat tire, oh, my car key fob died, you know, and then it may happen in consecutive spurts, and you may start to begin to feel like, what is going on? It's just one thing after another. Well, when you know it's clash, then you know you're not totally crazy. You're just in that energy space. And to know that it's temporary, you know, it's not going to last forever. This is not an indication of a forever bad luck. Okay. That's what clash means. Okay. So make friends with it. You see, Carrie Lake is born in the day of the horse. For those that are tuning in, she was a candidate for Arizona governor. I don't even know where we're at. Has she conceded yet? So maybe in the month of December, she will concede, because that's a clash. Clash means something will change. Okay. Something will finally move along. Okay. So that's how you can also see that. I'm not going to repeat this because this has been in previous slides, you know, just how the clash energy comes in, but I do want to talk about the body. And I mentioned that earlier, you know, so if you do have a clash, or you know someone that's going to have a clash, just take extra care of your lower back. You know, don't do any crazy yoga poses and hurt yourself. be a little bit more mindful of your legs. It's good to work on the core, to strengthen, to help heal, do some rehabilitation, physical therapy, if these areas are already kind of your vulnerable spot in your body, okay? All right, last one. So if you're born on the day of the rat, on a rat day, okay, December is going to be a preview to 2023. And what is 2023? Well, 2023 is the year of the rabbit, okay? And you look at this person's chart as an example. They were born on the day of the rat, okay? Obviously, I'm oversimplifying this, but this is just kind of the simplistic way of looking. If you look at your chart and you see, oh, that person's born on the day of the rat, not the year of the rat, okay, the day of the rat. This creates an energy called relationship penalty, relationship penalty. And look at who has relationship penalty next year. Andrew Cuomo was born on the day of the rat. Now, he's been kind of silent since 2020, right? Who is he? What is he? The governor, right, of New York? I forget what his position. COVID was kind of like a blur to me. Relationship penalty, what does that mean? Well, that we'll cover that here in a second. I just want to show you for a minute, how that shows up in a person's chart. But, he's in his nobleman luck. He's between age 60 and 70, and this is his nobleman luck. So however the relationship penalty comes about, which it will, he'll get away with it or like it will all work out in the end, because that's what nobleman does. Okay. Remember, the elements are not this, they don't discriminate. They don't care if you're a good person or a bad person, if you're rich or poor. Okay. The elements come to you the same. What's different is our free will, what we choose to do with good luck and what we choose to do when we're not doing so well. Uh-oh. Who has relationship penalty next year? Jennifer Lopez. J-Lo. Uh-oh. Can we wonder if there's trouble in paradise? So ding dong, ding dong. More to come at the Chinese New Year talk. But yes, she has a relationship penalty. You know who had this is Sandra Bullock had this when she married Jesse James. And Jesse James ended up having an affair, and I think got the woman pregnant while they were married. Relationship penalty came when Elizabeth Smart was abducted and also sexually abused. So relationship penalty is not fun, okay? Relationship penalty is the opposite of love. This is when we feel betrayed, and actually I'll give you this, there's a lot more miscommunication and misunderstanding. So if you were born on the day of the rat, I want you to pay attention to the month to say, am I prone to miscommunication and misunderstanding this month? It's like that person just didn't get it, So that means you have to be clearer. That means maybe you need to put it in writing. That means maybe you need to have a second meeting just to clear the error. You see, these are red flags. Okay. You don't want to be bringing this into the new year. You want to clear this now. If you have any ongoing arguments and disagreements, this can be both personally and professionally, particularly around legal documents. You see, if you have outstanding legal stuff, it's good to kind of get that wrapped up. Making sure your attorneys are really paying attention and looking out for your best interests. Ongoing arguments I have a couple clients, for example, that have a dispute with their landlords. So ongoing argument, try to settle this this month, or at least before the start of the rabbit year. You may start to see, just pay attention. You may see that there's signs, because these are just signs of broken promises or lack of follow through. Okay. Oh, that person said that they would, introduce me to this person, but they never followed through. I asked again and they never came through. So they can be very, very subtle to very, very big things, like someone saying, I'm going to move in with you, my love. And then they're like, nope, I don't want to move in with you. Okay. So These are broken promises and lack of follow through. There's also telltale signs of deception around this kind of relationship betrayal. They're not telling you the whole truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So that's what deception is. They're kind of keeping some things to themselves, or they're flat out lying. Betrayal can also mean that they are only thinking of their own interest. They don't really have your best interests in mind. So if you're born in the day of the rat and you're signing contracts, you're coming into a partnership collaboration, these kinds of things, you want to really be clear how the relationship is really going to move forward. Remember, relationship penalty is the opposite of relationship love, okay? So this is not to say you look at everyone with skepticism, but this is just that you're breathing in more awareness, okay? And you're not being reckless, impulsive, because the water energy can make you feel impulsive. And you're just taking your time, being patient, and doing your due diligence before you enter into a relationship. Also, if you have any existing tension in your relationship, so sometimes it's a couple where they're already kind of getting on each other's nerves like this, or that mother-in-law like this, they're becoming more and more handsy, in your life, and it's creating friction. You want to pay attention to these relationships. You want to make amends. You want to start to clear the air. You don't want to bring any of that into the new year, because what happens is, if it does have an impact on your BaZi chart, that means that will become the focal point of your year, not in a good way, okay? That means the tension will become so much bigger. Why? Because it's the whole year, not just a month, but it will be the whole year, you see? So that's why you want to kind of get that moving along, okay? Try to resolve that. Don't be surprised too if there's long lost friend or relative that you haven't talked to in a long time. Maybe reach out, for example. And these can be a positive thing or a negative thing. Whether maybe someone through someone said their name and it gives you the heebie-jeebies like that. It's like, ooh, I don't want to be around that person. Or why is that person in town? Like that. Okay. So if you have these moments, just kind of be aware. All right. Okay. That's the relationship penalty. So, but the rat sign can also bring about the positive. Remember, everything in elements is a duality. There's always a plus and there's a minus, good and bad. So try to have your resolution to all your ongoing conflicts, get that done, especially if this is your nobleman month. If it's not, maybe you should do an auspicious date selection and we can choose a good date to get that resolved, to get that formally signed. The rabbit year in 2023 is also a time for reconnecting. Okay, it's all about inter and intra personal relationships. So when you have healthy ones, it's good to nurture them now, and the holiday season can bring about tension, but also it can bring about a lot of healing and a lot of love. There's also a readiness to move forward, to kind of move on. Okay, it's time to let bygones be bygones, but without forgetting, but it's a time to release the anger, the resentment, the hurt, okay, to open yourself up to forgiving and to healing. This is a very important practice for all of us in December, because again, 2023, the theme is about healing and forgiveness. Just imagine it's the opposite of 2020. 2020 was all about fighting, canceling each other, family disowning family. I can't even begin to tell you how many horrible stories I've heard from clients. And so 2023 is an invitation to say, can we allow our differences to be the differences, but we can still come together and love one another and respect one another and to be together, okay? So December is kind of like that opening. There's more energy around social interactions and networking. Remember, I told you that's just the way that the holiday season is, but that's also 2023. Okay, these are all previews to what's coming. And so you may start to notice that, oh, I think I'm ready to go on dinner parties. I haven't gone to dinner parties since before COVID, then these are all positive indications, okay, for the future. And a willingness to try again. there's a sense of optimism behind it, behind your intention to say, it didn't work out. Maybe I was ready to date, but it wasn't the right time. But maybe I'm willing to try again. I tried that route for career. It didn't quite pan out, but maybe I'll give it another go. Maybe it just wasn't my right time. So there's a deep sense of optimism behind that, okay, which is very positive. And then you may start to also see that you're outgrowing some of your insecurities. Hopefully that's the case. If you do feel that, congratulations. This is a very, very good sign. So if you've done BaZi with me before and 2023 is your peach blossom year, and I tell you it's time to talk, it's time to start doing things more openly, more publicly, this is it. This is your check-in time, December. Where am I at? I got 60 days. Am I ready to receive this element, to receive this energy in my life? Okay, so these are all very positive. Okay, that's really it. That's the year of the rat. Okay, I kind of went on a little bit because there was so much to talk about, but there's so many fun things. I think I always listen to the elements. I know when it's time to be quiet and hibernate, and other times it's time to come back and be together. So I'm bringing back a lot of classes next year. We're not going to have any more monthly BaZi talks until March, and I'm going to put this in the newsletter, but you can take a pic. These are the dates, so you can just put this on your calendar. They're going to be the same time every month. And this will be for the first half of 2023. Again, they're complimentary, they're community events that's open to you. So you can kind of move with the elements as each month goes, okay? And then I have my 10-year Chinese New Year talk in January. So hopefully I'll get to see you in person. We can ching some champagne if you're coming in person. Also, I'm doing the free What is BaZi workshop more in detail and more examples. So if you have friends, family that are not really, educated on BaZi and you'd like to share, please bring them along. Again, I'm going through these really quickly, but they will be on the website. For those that have taken Feng Shui classes and you want to refresh, I am doing a one-day workshop refresh where you're going to brush up on your technical skills. And then we're going to do more hands-on exercises. So this is for one full day in Scottsdale. And then I'm rolling out once more. We haven't done this in over a year. The Feng Shui certification program. Again, it will be in Scottsdale. This is all in person. Okay, we can't do this virtual. But what we are doing virtual is the BaZi training. Okay, so this actually is the third virtual training program, and it's gone very successfully because what I did was I broke down the 40-hour class into 8 sessions so that you can digest the materials a lot better. And BaZi, we can do this virtually. Feng Shui, we can't. We have to be in person. And so this will be available in June. It's not yet posted on my website, but I'm sharing that here now. And your annual update. All righty. Gift giving season. So if you have any questions, just unmute yourself and I'll stay on for 5 minutes. But otherwise, if I don't talk to you, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, happy holiday, all the things.
Thank you, Jen.
Bye-bye.
I am in clash and I didn't realize my camera is on and I came on. And I was like rushing to find a spot to sit. And I'm like, oh boy, I hope I didn't do anything embarrassing, but
you're all good. You're all good. Oh my goodness.
And then when you talked about the clash and I saw I was in clash, I'm like, there we go. Just go with the flow.
Then that means, yeah, you're under, yep. It's all good though, you see.
All good.
Thank you, everyone. Bye, Don. Bye, Teresa, Chloe, Mitsu.
Have a good evening.
Marie Rose. Ati, bye-bye.
And I'm trying to turn my camera on. I really, again, as I've shared, I really want to make a priority of this in my calendar. I know that I signed up for something that didn't happen. I always have trouble with your PayPal. I'm sure that's some element talking to me. But
we have Venmo now too. So
okay. So I'm going to sign up for the New Year's talk and try to reschedule I think you said I could schedule a BaZi session for what I missed. So
Yes, and we can just do yours because you already paid for the workshop, but I'll send you the info for the Chinese New Year talk. You just tell me if you want to come on Friday night or
I would
Saturday.
love to come in person on Friday.
On Friday, okay. And then I'll send you the detail for the Venmo, so that's easier.
Okay, whatever. I mean, I'm really old school, so I've done,
Okay.
I've effectively worked PayPal before. I just got stuck in a calc. So I'll
All
try
good.
again.
Let's